All right, guys. So this is my live interview with Forex Shark. We had a couple problems before we got into the interview. Basically, I'm a retard and I don't know how to stream on a Mac with OBS. So I'm going to be working on that hopefully for the next time where I managed to finally get Forex live on my channel because I've only had him before pre-recorded. So we did move it into the Telegram. And we talked for about 2 hours, right, about everything that was on my mind. We had a bunch of questions from Twitter. I'm going to be sending some drip down to you guys about that. So before we just get into it, roll it.
That's right.
Welcome back to Crypto Mischief, where I talk about my favorite thing in the fucking world, goddamn cryptocurrency. Okay, so just before we get into the interview, I thought I'd just point out that we're going to be time stamping everything, right? And some of the main points that we talked about. First, we discussed the animal farm. We first discussed the pigs and the immigration, which is happening imminently right now. The time right now, we're down to about 10 hours until it's migrated, okay? And what to look out for. So the first thing we did discuss was we talked about the pigs and how it's going to all break up, right? So one important thing that you did mention was that your pigs that you were taking out when the farm was paused, right? When we were taking out our pigs BUSD and putting into the crediting contract, where do they go? We talked about the PigPen after that, okay? And how the deposit fees going into the piggy bank are going to be being injected into the PigPen, okay? PigPen, where we stake our pigs, right? And also we get rewarded in BUSD. Our pigs are time locked for 50 days. We can get 2% per day. And it also has an option to compound what you're putting in there to inherently grow what you have. Every time you press compound, then it's going to reset. So you'll be back to 50 days. So what I proposed then was that means that on the very initial start, right, just as we unpause, there's going to be a huge injection of new capital coming into the piggy bank because there's 20% more bang for your buck when getting into the piggy bank. Link in the description, join my team. So we talked about that. Then we moved on to talking briefly about dogs, but I didn't want to spend too much time on dogs because dogs is going to be in about 2 weeks. Then we talked about the reservoir and we talked about the garden and the drip garden, the drip reservoir. I asked him to break down exactly how the reservoir works. He did it very well. And we talked about the garden and my idea to compound to 100,000 plants and why I think it's bullish. And then why he talked about what his thoughts are on the garden and how it's going to be faring in the next while. Then finally, we rounded this all up with drip, how we're talking about scratch cards. We're talking about a new partner for drip, which is also a partner for Animal Farm. We're going to be able to take our assets from those protocols and stake them to get other tokens from these brand new protocols. It's the same protocol, right? But he didn't tell me what it is. So we're going to probably have to start guessing. So it's very interesting to have that out. And then he talked briefly about the drip lending service, which he's planned to bring out this year, but not yet. So there is what he set up right is every week we're going to have a new development in either Animal Farm or in drip. This is the interview. Enjoy it. Timestamp for your pleasure. Peace. And I won't say it at the end, so say it right now. Don't get wrecked. Firstly, sorry about all that palaver, guys. This live streaming is a new thing to me, right? Still trying to get
Haunted by
it
tech
down.
issues.
I know, man. Jesus.
He gotta get his social score up, bro.
Thank you.
Social
Yeah,
credit.
man.
Oh man.
Well, thank God I'm not. Thank God I'm not a dev. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
man. He's doing good things over there.
So the reason I wanted to chat with Forex on my channel was because, to be honest, I know you're looking for testimonials for drip and all that, and we've got a big team over on my channel, and it's with the launch of the Animal Farm just coming up right now, right? Well, the relaunch and the unpausing. It's all about the community. So I really wanted to put my wick in the fire just to keep this burning, get it brighter, because we're all coming together. It's a community-run project, essentially. Drip, Animal Farm, Breep, everything. So because of that, I thought, I put out some messages. We got some tweets back about the project, about Animal Farm, about the unpausing and all this stuff, right? Because generally, like my channel, right, it's going back to about 2020, the DeFi summer, the way back then when you first released R34P, and then we moved to the BSC, we opened Drip, we started out the Animal Farm. I mean, time and time again, Forex, you've just been a pillar of DeFi, something that stands strong, creating decentralized, decentralized passive income machines. Yeah, and they keep standing strong. We've seen so many other DeFi projects that have burned so brightly, but then faded away, right? But Forex's projects remain stronger than ever. So it's really important that we get everything super clear for everyone of all knowledge bases for DeFi to know exactly what we're going to be doing for the migration coming up tomorrow, so that we all get the best, the best entry into it, and we work together, and then we make it the farm that it is. It is going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
In DeFi, it's going to be the biggest thing on the Binance Smart Chain easily. It's a beast. So
thank you, bro. I appreciate your questions. So, getting questions and answering questions from the community is real important to me. So I appreciate the opportunity.
So what I wanted to do was make it clear for two things, which I think is really important for people. First, the migration for current stakers, which is important, right? How it's going to work. But also, if you're a complete newbie, brand new to this space, how are you going to approach the relaunch of Animal Farm and get into it? What is the easiest way to do this, right? Because there's a lot of choices now.
Yeah.
Way more choices than before.
Yeah.
And it's more complex than before, but that's good because DeFi should be complex. So initially, if I'm talking from myself, right? So I was in Animal Farm before. I was in the PigPen, I was in the piggy bank, and I was in the farm, right? So of course we are not looking at the farm right now. We're waiting for the dogs unpausing for that. So at the moment the focus is on the pigs V2, piggy bank, PigPen. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So the way that if you were already in the any of these contracts, then when we go live tomorrow at 1, there'll only be one group of people that has to do any kind of action to actually get credited and ensure that they have the pigs or pigs liquidity that they had before it was paused, before the migration. And this is people in the pig pen. So if you had pigs in your wallet, which is less than 3% of the total supply of pigs, when we go live tomorrow at 1, you'll be airdropped these tokens. So you don't need to do anything in that case. If you sent even one pig into the crediting contract, you'll be credited with the full amount that you had in your wallet. It will be sent to your wallet, and the same wallet that you used to send in the pigs to the crediting contract, and that would be the same wallet that you had the pigs in before the migration. Now, if you had pigs LPs and you did the same, it's exactly the same. They'll be airdropped to your wallet.
Okay, so there's one question about that, because from the piggy after the unpausing, right? One question I did get asked was the piggy bank was still kind of running, but we could withdraw the pigs LP, then move them into the crediting contract from the piggy bank, after the unpausing. So by doing that, will that be credited into the wallet, or would that be going back into the piggy bank?
That'll be going into the piggy bank.
Good.
The reason why we needed people to withdraw from the piggy bank to send to the crediting contract is because we need to migrate all of the liquidity from V1 pigs to V2 pigs. And the only way we can do that is by having people send in their LP tokens or sending their pig tokens to allow us to do that. We're a fully decentralized project, which means we don't have the ability to remove the liquidity, which is important because, you see all these other projects taking advantage of that to scam their user base. We ensure when we build a project, we don't even have the ability to scam if we wanted to, right? So that's important to us. So if we did have the ability to move the liquidity, then we could have said, just keep it paused and that's fine. You guys don't have to do anything. But because we needed a full community effort to this migration, we had people withdraw and send it in so we could migrate the liquidity. But when V2 is live tomorrow, we'll be unpause it. You'll be credited in whatever contract your capital was in when we paused it.
Yeah.
So if you were in the piggy bank, you'll be credited by the amount of LPs that you deposited minus the amount of LPs you withdrew. Now, when I say the amount of LPs you withdrew, I'm not referring to LPs that you withdrew after the pause to send the credit contract.
Okay.
I mean when it was unpaused.
Yeah.
Any LP that you deposited minus any LPs that you withdrew because this essentially gives your LP balance in the contract. The sum of that would be your LP balance in the contract, and that's what you'll be credited with in V2. And the way that we're determining the how much everybody will be credited is by taking the sum of this LP and then doing simulated buys into the piggy bank in same order that the buys were made initially, and this credits those users as those simulated buys come in with the pigs price with the piglets using a type of bonding curve. So, of course, the initial deposits will get a slightly better rate than the last deposits that were made, but because we're starting with a high seed value, and because the only people that will not be credited in the new system are the two botters who made a large deposit and then attempted to drain the system. That capital, they're getting credited zero essentially because they were able to withdraw a little bit more LP than they deposited, so that makes their sum zero. So they're not credited, which means everybody else in the system is then it's essentially a value transfer to everybody else in the system. So it's essentially or functionally like a bonding curve pre-sale, where everybody that was existing in piggy bank, it's functionally the same as if you got into a pre-sale with a bonding curve. And when we go live at 1 o'clock, right, it's today now, 1 o'clock p.m., you'll be credited with piglets, and everybody will have a truffle value of zero. So the piglets determine your stake in the contract and the amount of ROI that you're able to earn, and the truffles are the ROI that you're earning. They're the token that you can actually use to cash out. So everybody will be starting with how much piglets they're credited with and zero truffles. And what this means is anybody who wants to get in on immediately when it goes live, wants to deposit new capital, they don't have to worry about anyone that has accumulated truffles that they could dump on their head or sell on them, or there's no one that got a major head start on them. So it really is like a type of it's essentially like a complete relaunch, where the people who were already staked got in a type of vested funding curve, and the vesting comes from the simple fact that you can only withdraw up to 3% ROI a day, and the people who are getting in tomorrow, or people that already have their stake but want to deposit fresh capital, not only are you getting in at the ground floor, meaning that there's no one that has truffles that could dump on your head, also you're getting a 20% bonus for depositing fresh capital, and this is in the first 48 hours. And this is one way we're helping to just kickstart it and make it really attractive for new capital to come in right at launch.
So it'd be like, say you take like a guy, right, Jimmy, right? So Jimmy had, before the pause, he had $100 worth of pigs in his wallet, right? And he was also in the piggy bank. But then after the piggy bank was, after the farm was paused, he withdrew like $100 worth of pigs BUSD LP tokens, right? And he put them into the crediting contract. Yeah. So his $100 of pigs, but that was in his wallet, will just be airdropped back to his wallet. But the pigs LP tokens that he took out of the piggy bank to deposit into the crediting contract would go back into the piggy bank. That's right, yeah. That's the...
All right, well, I don't want to complicate this, but if he had... so if someone had pigs or pig LP tokens in their wallet when it was paused, then they will get airdropped those tokens to their wallet. Yeah. If they had the LP in the piggy bank, they will get credited in the piggy bank. Now, in order to get credited in your wallet or in the piggy bank, when we unpaused it just to do the crediting, you had to have set something in to the crediting contract to get credited in the new contract, whether it's the tokens airdropped or credited in piggy bank. Now, we understand that some people were time locked in piggy bank, and some people were only able to withdraw a small amount because you can only withdraw up to 3% ROI a day.
Yeah.
So essentially, with piggy bank, everybody's getting credited. You know, whether they sent in pigs or pigs LP, it doesn't matter. But as far as people that had the pigs in their wallet, or pigs LP in their wallet, or pigs in the piggy bank, you did have to withdraw to send something in because everybody had the ability to do that, and we needed people to do that in order to do the migration. So our way to ensure that people would do that, so we could do the migration, was by telling people that you need to send in the credit contract to get credited. So if you mentioned that, your example, if someone deposited, say, 100 LP tokens into the piggy bank, and then before it was paused, withdrew 100 LP from the piggy bank, then they will essentially have a balance of 0 when we unpause the piggy bank. But if they had those LPs in their wallet when it was paused because they withdrew, they will get credited to their wallet. But the only people that withdrew a significant amount from the piggy bank were the two snipers, right?
Yeah.
And because we had a max payout, because it was only up to 3% a day, and because we had a security protocol that paused the contract when it was made evident that there was a sniper there, they were not able to, no investor capital was lost. They were essentially just able to withdraw just about what they deposited. So it actually worked out pretty well because it gave us a really simple way to figure out how to credit people while not including the bots, but do it in a non-arbitrary way by just saying you'll get credited with what you deposited minus what you withdrew from the system. That automatically takes care of the bots. Plus, it's not an arbitrary, we're picking and choosing. Although we could have done that anyways because we made it very clear if you try to get around our anti-bot protocols, you will be blacklisted anyway. So, but regardless, I'm happy that we chose a non-arbitrary way to do it.
So then that comes to actually newbies then, because a new person finding the piggy bank right now and thinking, oh, this looks exciting, it's time for me to get in for the first time. So you're saying that any new capital going into the piggy bank gets 20% extra. That's nuts. So that's 20% extra on the compound interest that you can garner from compounding the piggy bank.
Exactly. It's 20% on their, it's 20% on their principal, and then if they time lock, then that bonus for time locking is applied to their principal. So it's an additional bonus put on their already increased principal from the bonus. And then, so just as an example, if someone was going to deposit enough to get 100 piglets without the bonus, they will now get 120 piglets, right, for that same amount of capital. And then the time locking, I'm going to use some arbitrary values here, but say they time lock for 6 months and get 50% more piglets for depositing for 6 months. This extra 50% now gets put in their bonus balance essentially, and gets added to their available truffles every day. So when they compound, they're taking a percentage of that bonus that they earned and compounding it into their principal, and now they're earning compound interest on their bonus for the time locking bonus plus the 20% bonus plus their deposit. So it's 20% makes a huge difference when you're talking about compound interest. Being able to start out with 20% more principal initially that makes a huge difference when you account for compound interest.
Yeah, so it's a very enticing offer for anyone who's just finding this. And then, so if that kind of moves to the PigPen, because they're linked closer now than they were before. That's right, because the deposits into the piggy bank, some of that deposit fee will now go to the PigPen. Is that correct?
All of the pigs generated from deposit fees go to the PigPen.
All of it, wow. Okay.
All of it, yes.
Yeah.
So I never take any kind of developer fee in our native assets. I've never done that. Never done that for any of our projects, and there's several reasons for that. There's the fact that in order for me to, actually take that capital and try to use it for, say, marketing or whatever I'm going to use it for, I would either need to sell it or I would need to give those tokens to whoever's going to be doing the marketing or whatever, and then they're going to end up dumping it on their following side when they promote it or how are we going to use it. So I never take a dev fee in our tokens because I never sell our tokens, and I never use our tokens to pay anybody for anything because I know almost every time that has a net negative effect. They end up promoting it and then dumping on the heads of the people they just promoted to. So the PigPen are the people that were in the PigPen when it paused are the only people who are going to need to take some action tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST when we go live. And that is they're going to need to decide whether they want to credit their pigs to the PigPen or if they want to send BUSD to the contract and credit to the piggy bank. So if they do decide to credit to the piggy bank, it's going to be considered fresh capital coming in, and they're going to get a 20% bonus. Now, if they decide to credit to the PigPen, then they'll be entered into the PigPen. There will be staked in the PigPen, and now they will start earning 3% of the PigPen vault, which has millions of dollars in it. And 3% of this balance gets paid out to PigPen holders, plus a huge cash flow, which will likely, at least in the first couple weeks until we have the V2 Animal Farm cards coming up, be providing a larger cash flow than even the BUSD. And this is going to be the pigs that are generated from the deposit fees on the piggy bank being used as a dividend model for the PigPen. And someone asked before about the deposit and withdrawal fees on the piggy bank, and I think it's important for people to understand that if everybody in a system is paying the exact same tax, then it's the same as no one in the system paying a tax, right? And the reason why we put this deposit withdrawal fee in the first place is because we needed to ensure that it was not profitable to self-refer. A lot of these other systems that have referral structures can be drained or it can be used to leech the system by self-referring. So we prevented that by putting a fee that is slightly higher than the referral bonus you would get, and this ensures that if you are doing a normal referral, then you benefit from that. But if you try to self-refer, you end up paying more in a fee than you would from the referral bonus. So this is oftentimes actually the only projects that I've put a fee like this into has been for this very reason, to offset any kind of leeching or disincentivize leeching through self-referring, and that's what we've implemented into piggy bank. Now the PigPen.
Oh wait, so one thing about that then. So then, I'm trying to think about how to play this right, because I mean, not financial advice, of course, but so if the PigPen is going to be getting injected with BUSD from the new deposits into the piggy bank, starting from the launch of the farm again, would that mean that people who are staking their pigs back into the PigPen are going to be getting like this huge push of BUSD coming in the first couple week, because they'll, generally with these contracts such as the piggy bank, the first week, the first 2 weeks is like a huge injection of fresh TVL, yeah? So would that mean it's going to be for like gameplay?
Yeah, so
it's going to be a huge injection.
Yeah, so we got something like $700 million worth of TVL in the first day on Animal Farm. Yeah. We've made significant improvements to the Animal Farm, and I see us outperforming that to a large extent. Since you asked, I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about the dogs contract and
Yeah.
the farms and pools, just because
We'll be talking about them
I
in 2 weeks anyway.
yeah, I don't want to overload people with information.
Yeah.
Basically, that's kind of the idea. But
The way I
and this is
understand the dogs base, just to cut it brief, would be when the dogs token is on pause, essentially no dogs is ever going to be sold on the back end, which will be detrimental to the price of it. Essentially, it's going to be burning more. It's going to help the
Yep.
price. People aren't going to notice it until they see the price and they'll be like, "Wow, okay, something's going on in the back end, which is even more bullish than before." You know.
Yeah, so basically every time this BUSD threshold, which is a significant amount of BUSD, say 25,000, 50,000 BUSD, get onto the liquidity helper contract, it will then either use the BUSD to buy dogs, or uh, or it will burn some of the dogs and then add liquidity to it. So that's I would say light years better than what we had, and what we had previously was significantly better than anything else in the space.
It was.
So yeah. So what we're going to do with the dogs migration, just to speak on it a little bit, is the main use case for dogs and the main value for dogs comes from pigs, because dogs acts as the farm reward token that is a vehicle that allows you to earn pigs. So essentially, dog gets its value from pig, and we wanted to ensure that dog has as much demand and is as bullish as possible when we unpause it, and we're doing that by allowing pigs to go first, give pigs a couple weeks to really moon, really shine, and that way when dogs goes live, there's that instant value for the dog token because you can utilize it to earn pigs. So that's the idea. And also, we didn't want to hit everybody with everything at the same time, just because when you do that, details get lost in the sauce and it becomes more difficult for people and more confusing. So
Yeah.
what we're going to do is tomorrow we go live with Piggy Bank, PigPen, and Pigs. We'll then spend the next day and the weekend just focusing on that 100%. And then at the start of next week, we're going to give instructions on how people can migrate their dog tokens from the V1 Mastership contract to the V2 Mastership contract, which can utilize PancakeSwap's V2 syrup pool, which used in our rehypothecation protocol to earn millions of dollars worth of BUSD every month, which is then injected into the PigPen. So actually, I'm super excited about something. So let me just talk about one more thing involving dogs, and then we'll kind of move on.
Okay.
So because it actually, you know what, it's important to talk about it because it doesn't just have to do with dogs. It's something that is going to generate a ton more BUSD for the PigPen. So this is something that people that are considering whether they want to get into the PigPen or piggy bank need to consider.
Yeah.
So previously, we were taking all of the P tokens on our Mastership contracts and lending them out as collateral to a PancakeSwap lending pool, and we were earning about 30 to 40% APY off that. And when you're earning 30 to 40% APY off hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, that's a significant amount of capital that you're earning, and we're using that to inject that capital into the PigPen as BUSD rewards. Now, the reason why we were only doing it with LP tokens is because there was no major DEX that allowed you to lend single assets and earn a significant yield off of it. Now, I'm so happy to say that 2 days ago we made a deal. We locked in a deal with a major DEX to lend out our single asset tokens as well. So all that's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of additional capital that will be earning 30 to 40% APY, and this is going to effectively double the amount of BUSD that will be being sent to the PigPen, and it's going to be a big deal. And also, the DEX that we're working with, they have a product that they're about to launch in a few weeks. So there's going to be that they're only going to be offering to what they're calling the top 5 projects on BC, and we're one of them with Drip.
Yeah.
So between doing the lending with them for Animal Farm and the collab that we're doing for their new product with Drip, there's going to be a ton of co-promotion going on with this Dex as well. So
Also, it's the same one.
That's the same one. Yeah, exactly. So it's big. It's going to be really, really big for all our projects. Where
I've been trying to guess what it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, since it's their new project, their new product that they're launching, I don't want to be the one to say it first. So it's going to be going live.
Keep it secret.
Yeah, well,
it'll be fun.
It's going to be going live in 2 or 3 weeks. It's already built, and right now they're preparing to start promoting it and making it public. So it'll be made public in the next few days, at some point next week, and that's when I'll be able to talk more about it.
I think I'm going to do a sweepstake, right, in my channel of what it's going to be, and we're going to have some options and see who votes for what, and then the winner's going to get some drip.
Do it, man. Do it. Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is always great. Like anything that creates excitement is awesome, man.
That's cool. So if we get into the PigPen, right? Because definitely I see this as such a much more advanced and it's more complex than the new PigPen model, but it is so much more bullish for pigs than the old model. And the old model was working well, right? It did work. It wasn't a broken system. But the new model is so much. It's the idea like it's paying you back 2%, daily from what you put in, but it's locked.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and you can
so the way that
so it take you 50
that,
days to withdraw, but then if you want, you can also compound it back in.
So when someone deposits into the PigPen, right, their principal is then locked in there and is made available at 2% a day.
Yeah.
So this is not including the pigs or the BUSD that's being sent to the contract.
Yeah.
So what this means is their principal is locked and they're able to unlock 2% a day, and they can take the pigs that they're earning from dividends from the piggy bank cash flow and deposit that and compound that into their stake. So of your principal, right? Your 2% principal that's being unlocked, you wouldn't compound that into your stake because it's already in your stake. It's already your principal. You don't compound your principal back into your principal. It's the pigs dividends that you're earning from the new pigs cash flow that you would be compounding into your principal.
So you can compound that 2% back in.
No, sorry. So the 2% is the percentage of your principal that's made available for you to withdraw daily. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
This is
the pigs
this
out,
is not this is not the dividends that you're being sent.
The dividends is BUSD.
The dividends is both BUSD and pigs.
Okay.
So you're earning BUSD from the PigPen vault that's paying you 3% of its balance every day.
Yeah.
And then you're earning pigs from the piggy bank cash flow. All the deposit withdrawal fees that are accumulating pigs are being sent to the PigPen. Now, as a PigPen staker, say you stake 100 pig in the PigPen. Every day, 2% of those 100 pig tokens will be made available for you to withdraw if you want to withdraw. Now, on top of this 100, you're getting pigs sent to you as a dividend, to your to your account, to your dashboard. And these pigs, you can decide to either claim them or you can compound them back into your principal. When you compound them back into your principal, it's the same as any kind of staking model like Drip or anyone. It resets your vesting, but now your principal's larger, and now you're earning a greater share of the pigs and BUSD being sent in. So that's the way it works. The 2% is a vesting model on your principal. So it's 2% of your principal is made available to withdraw every day. This is not including the pigs that's being sent to you in form of rewards as a staker in the PigPen. Those pigs that are being sent to you in the form of rewards are available to claim, or you can compound them into your stake. And when you compound it into your stake, it now, of course, increases your balance and it resets your vesting period. So this is going to be something that, um, you know, it's going to be a type of arms race where people are going to be trying to uh, uh, grow the principal in pigs as much as possible to get a greater share of the pig pen. And by doing this, they'll be resetting their vesting period, further locking them into the protocol. And at any point, it's never locked for more than 50 days because it's 2% a day, which means 100% at the end of 50 days. But when you compound or you make a new deposit, it resets your vesting period. So it's really a model that's, people are going to make massive gains from it, but the people that are going to make massive gains are the people that are in it for the long term. And that's because you're going to be making massive gains instantly, right? As soon as PigPen goes live, as soon as PiggyBank goes live, there's going to be a ton of pigs being sent there.
Yeah.
But in order to essentially keep up with maintaining your share of PigPen, you're going to want to compound them. And when you compound them, you're resetting your vesting out another 50 days. And it just really, it's so bullish for pigs because there's only going to be about 3% of pigs in circulation. Over 86% of pigs LPs locked up in the piggy bank. So essentially, there's going to be no pigs in circulation when it goes live. When you consider there's only 3% of pigs in circulation, and there's a 3% burn rate on selling pigs, it cancels each other out, and it essentially makes it so there's basically no negative. There's no immediate negative price impact that can happen on the pig token when we go live, and then there's all this incentive to buy the pig token. So, the pig token, it's going to move like we've never seen it move before. I mean, because we've never had a situation like this.
I've never seen a setup like this that you've done with PigPen. It's beauty in DeFi, if you know what I mean. It's perfectly balancing. It's never seen this before, yeah.
There's never been anything like this because we're taking funds that otherwise would be going to the developer.
Yes.
And we're using them as a reward model for the people who are staking in the governance protocol, essentially making the stakers of the pig token in the PigPen the owners of the protocol, meaning they're getting the dev fees and they have a vote on future development on the farm, such as vault partnerships and all this kind of stuff. So the reason why you haven't seen this before is because there's very few development teams that are willing to take cash on the table that otherwise would be going to them and make the conscious decision of, we're going to give this to the community instead.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
It's something about you that not enough people seem to understand about the way that you see DeFi and the way that you see the different protocols that you make. It's not the common way that we see all over the place with DeFi, where the developers there taking his 1%, his 10% cut of all the money going in and all the money going out. It's not the way you do things. And I don't know. That's why, I'll follow this one, I'll follow the next one, because I know that it's DeFi done exactly the right way it should be. And there should be more people doing this, but sadly they don't, They don't take DeFi in that kind of way.
Yeah. It's very hard to get skilled developers. Like, there's a lot of people that can do, some basic stuff. Very hard to find skilled developers, and then, finding a skilled developer who also has the this mindset. There's not many of them. But I came into the space already a multimillionaire. I don't really want to talk about my actual funds, but before I developed anything, I was already a multimillionaire, making millions of dollars a year trading. And
I remember
I came into it.
Yeah, because when you brought out,
I came into it to build cool stuff.
When you brought out R34P, I think you locked the liquidity yourself. Yeah, like it was.
Yeah,
it was unheard of.
Exactly. Yeah, when I launched Reap, I just put my own money in there and locked it to get a Kickstarter. Yeah, exactly. So and when I launched Reap, it was because I kind of got a little bit of a bug where I saw a really cool project that had a cool idea, and I just don't feel like it was done to the extent that it could have been done, and I wanted to do it myself, and it was kind of a spur of the moment decision. I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. I started working on it. I launched it. I added my own liquidity to it, my own capital to it. I locked it up, and then I let everybody know. So like it was already listed before anybody even knew about it. Actually, the first group that I even told about was Stunner. I went into Stunner Breeze's group, and I was like, "Hey guys, I just launched this token," and they knew me because I was already, I was running some trading bots, and one of the trading bots I was running, which, maybe I shouldn't talk about, but I'm going to do anyways. It's a funny story. Is I had some chain analysis bots, which were watching every single one of BitBoy's wallets, and we would watch when tokens would be sent to one of BitBoy's wallets. And we would know, okay, he just got paid to promote this token. Yeah. Is going to be pumping in the next 24, 48 hours. I would buy it. I would then go to Breeze's group and say, hey, guys. So when I told people that, hey, I just launched a token, it was kind of like an instant hit. Like we did 100x in the first, couple of weeks or whatever.
So if we're... one point I wanted to touch on was the migration of referrals from the old Animal Farm site to the new one. That's going to be just one for one, like the swap over to it.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. So let me just start with Piggy Bank. That's on my mind when you say that. So Piggy Bank has a variable referral bonus. And this variable referral bonus is based on the amount of dogs you have in the single asset dog pool.
Yes.
And this creates more demand for dogs, more incentive to lock up dogs. Now, because the dogs contracts will not be live when Piggy Bank goes live, what we're doing is setting a flat 2% referral bonus rate for everybody until the V2 dogs contracts go live. And when these V2 dogs contracts go live, then it'll become variable for all new capital that comes in. Mm. Now, as far as the referral bonuses that people earned previously before pause, those will all credit in when we go live for the new contract. So essentially, the state of everything was captured, and this includes any gifts that you, because with Piggy gifts, any time locks that you had will be time locked for the same period of time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be on here an hour before we go live tomorrow, around noon EST, and I'm gonna just fully focused on just exactly what everybody needs to do, and exactly how everything's gonna go. But right now, due to some technical issues that are going on and stuff on his end, I'm kind of filling some of the time with things that I think are interesting.
All right, so, you got me. Thanks. Yep. So
no problem. What's going on? Is your Telegram crashing?
It's because I live in China, man. Everything's got to go through VPN because YouTube's blocked, Telegram's blocked, Google's blocked. So everything you got to do, you got to go through a certain source. So to get through it, then unlock it, then get through. So sometimes...
Yeah, and Telegram can be tough with a VPN, too. I know that. All right, man. No problem.
So the last thing for the animal farm I want to talk about is the garden, right? The drip garden. So personally, my journey on the garden is I'm trying to compound my way now up to 100,000 plants is my plan, right? You hear me there? Uh-huh. Yeah. So, and I get some comments sometimes in videos when I talk about it. They say, no, there's no point doing that. The garden doesn't work. Everything's going to zero. Like there's some people who still don't understand the way that it works. They seem to put it directly the same as any other mining contract, where it's different. It is extremely different to your general contract that you will see the BNB farmer or the big beans or whatever. And that's why I began compounding it, especially because my opinion is that by the time that Animal Farm is fully running once pigs is done out tomorrow and then dogs in a few weeks, the amount of people who are going to come into the farm for the first time or returning to the farm are going to see the garden once again. And of course, it's going to see, I think, more investment coming in, which is why I think it's key to keep growing it. But for any of the people out there who still don't understand, what would you have to say to them,
Yeah, so the garden has proven itself. It's I don't know how old now, like maybe 6 or 7 months old now.
Yeah.
And unlike all of these other mining contracts out there, it's the only one that has been able to hit contract balance highs, done corrections, come back, done new contract balance highs, done corrections, and it's had multiple of these cycles. And it really has to do with the price of drip. And it acts as a higher risk way to trade and get exposure to drip. So we've marketed it. It's the only product that I would consider a high risk product out of all of the ones we've done.
Yeah.
But it's significantly more sustainable and significantly lower risk than any other kind of mining protocol out there. So we had a strong demand to create a type of mining protocol for the community. We pushed it for them, and it's proven itself to not only did it get way more than 10x the balance that any other mining protocol has had. It currently still has a larger balance than any other mining protocol has in the space, like 6 or 7 months later. And we see that when drip is pumping, a lot of capital comes into drip garden, and when drip is doing a correction, people start claiming from the drip garden. So it really just acts as a form of leverage and a way to get exposure to drip and drip LPs. So
Exactly.
we are going we are going to be implementing the drip garden on the new UI. So we decided that we were going to build a new UI for this launch 6 days ago, and
Looks
we
good.
got right to work. Thank you. Yeah, because expense was spared. We've had a full team working on it. So now, it was kind of for a long time. This was a one-man operation, and then it was a two-man operation, and now it's a little bit larger than that because I have myself. I have a developer that we onboarded who was only doing quality control. Then we onboarded a developer who runs a team, a team essentially, a team of developers, and we kind of put. I'm gonna say we put them in charge, but they really helped us get the UI done in time, and of course, the design. Anybody that looks at the design can tell that it's one of my projects, right? It has
Yeah.
people know that I like to put art into my designs. That's all original art. So and that original art was done by Drip Africa. So or sorry, no, I think Reap Africa.
Yeah, they did the first white paper, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did the first white paper. He's done a lot of great work for us. All the documentation he does for us, he does a great job. And when he started delivering for us, he didn't well actually he didn't ask for any payment for it or anything. He did it, and then Bartertown, when we needed an update, had a competition to whoever could do the best white paper would win a big drip airdrop.
Ah, yeah.
And he pulled through again and delivered, and now he's he's on the payroll whenever we need any kind of documentation done, anything like that. He's our go-to guy, and of course we pay him for it. So he does a great job, and he also provided most of the art or basically all of the art for the new UI as well. So we've really onboarded some great people, and we're in a better place than ever as far as our development team to really get stuff done and get stuff done at a higher quality than we ever have. And that's why we put this UI together in 5 or 6 days, and it's better than our previous UI, which took a couple weeks for us to previously.
Yeah.
And it's really because we were doing everything as a 1 or 2 man operation before, and now we've grown. And these people that we've brought on, first of all, let me just make it clear that when it comes to the bottom line decision making when it comes to who's adding the liquidity, who's locking liquidity, when liquidity migration happens, when anything like that involves investor capital, that's all being handled by me and only me, and it's always been that way.
Yeah.
But doing things like helping develop the UI, getting art done, getting documentation done, auditing our code, doing quality control. This is how we've grown as far as our team, and we've really, we've built up a strong team now. Where, even where we are now compared to where we were a month ago, we are so much stronger.
You're becoming a well-oiled machine. Well-oiled, decentralized machine. Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah. The new UI actually looks similar to the drip one actually, but the animal farm is dark, and then the what I saw from the drip one is kind of bright. Like I quite like the contrast there.
Yeah, so it's just cleaner. It's
man.
smoother. The new UI that we have for drip is really cool, right? So the new UI that we have for drip is modeled after Charles Schwab's investment bank website, and that's something that we put a lot of time into, and we're gonna play with it, right? We're gonna see. I believe that it's gonna bring a ton more interest into the project. It's gonna make people that visit the site be more inclined to use the products. They're gonna see the testimonials there. They're gonna see the articles about the site. That took a relatively long time to build. But I'm interested in building something like that for Animal Farm as well. In the future, we always want to improve, and there's always room to improve. But the site that we have, the UI that we have for the Animal Farm, is definitely way better than the previous one. And people will even notice we made an improvement since yesterday. So
you've added the liberation contract. You've added there's a couple tabs added.
And the information.
Yeah.
So previously we had just plain text at the top of each page that kind of explained what the product was, but it didn't look good. It offset the dashboard, so it made that cover up the art, and you can only have so much information in your header, and I didn't feel like it explained each product correctly. So we used a essentially like a tour box where when you click onto the piggy bank tab, a little dialog box pops up and tells you all the information about it, and then you can decide to click out. And so that's an awesome improvement that I'm really happy with. But we have something that does it even better that we'll be implementing in the next couple of days. So we're just going to continue to improve this and continue to optimize the front end. The contracts are going to stay immutable because we really, that's the way we need to do it. We like to keep things immutable with some flexibility that designed to ensure for the security and to allow it to evolve, but no flexibility that could be used to remove liquidity or send funds, somewhere that the staker isn't giving approval for, or anything like that you see with other projects. When I talk about flexibility, what I'm referring to is, for example, in order to do this V2 migration, it needed to be a kind of big process because of the decentralized, immutable structure that we designed. We learned from this and we improved. So in the new MasterChef contracts, if say PancakeSwap was to do a V3 syrup pool, we could easily migrate. And of course, we don't have the ability to move capital, move anybody else's stake from one contract to another, but we have the flexibility there where we can switch out the V2 contract address with the V3 contract address. Then still everybody has to give approval to move funds there, but it makes it flexible so we never have to pause or do anything that's very intensive in the future in case we have to do any kind of evolution as far as the other dApps we're integrated with. So it will be as simple as people just hitting a button to migrate from V2 to V3 and giving approval for it, confirming the transaction, and simple as that now.
So really the last thing I want to chat about today is to do with drip, but not to do with the because I believe that after the animal farm is finally everything's on pause and we're running, then that is the time for full 100% focus on drip and getting the UI out and getting the bullish new news and everything. But I wanted to have a talk with
Absolutely.
you about the reservoir, because I've seen as a YouTuber, I see a lot of got Twitter and stuff, see more and more tweeting, talking. I mean, I saw Bartertown made a competition, or his own, I guess, journey where he's wanting to put one BNB into the reservoir every day of the week, every day of the month for this month. That's his, that's what he's doing. I did a competition for Drip's birthday, the first year, when it was everyone who can prove they've staked in the reservoir, I was going to airdrop them down to them. And I see a lot more people talking about it. So I had a question that was sent in from Beach Junkie. And he said, the reservoir seems to be the least understood part of the entire ecosystem. Some people say that it creates a price floor for drip. Is this correct? If so, can you please explain some of the mechanics of the reservoir?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. In the past few weeks, people have really driven their attention to the reservoir. And this is because people are starting to realize it's a very low risk way that they can earn BNB, and that's something that you can't really find anywhere else in the space. And the reservoir is our liquidity provider contract, or our liquidity pool for our native DEX. So people that are aware of Drip know that you could trade Drip on our site, on drip.community, on our own native DEX. Now, just like any other DEX, you have liquidity providers. They are who is creating liquidity on both sides of the pool to allow for trading. They earn a liquidity provider fee. Now, with every other DEX out there, they're basically all copies of Uniswap, so they all have a 0.3% fee that goes to liquidity providers, and that's it. And what determines the share of your fee that you make is just the share of the liquidity pool that you make up. Now, with the reservoir, with our native DEX, not only do we pay out the largest liquidity provider fee than any other DEX, 1% is 0.3%. The way that what determines your share of the yield that you're generating from being a liquidity provider is not only the size of the pool that you make up, also how long you've been in the pool. And this is time-weighted liquidity provider rewards, and that's an innovation in the space that no one has done. We were the first, and no one's done it since. And there's a lot of things we do in Drip that no one has even been able to replicate. And some people have tried and failed, and some people have not even tried. They've created like lower end models, essentially maybe just the Faucet contract or whatever the case may be. But with the reservoir, the way that it works is you deposit BNB. There's a 10% tax on this BNB. 2% is permanently locked in the liquidity pool forever. 3% becomes immediately available to everybody that got in before you, so that BNB is immediately available for them as a reward. And the rest is locked up in a vault that pays out 2% of its balance daily to those in the reservoir. Now, every time someone swaps on the native DEX, there's a 1% fee associated with it, and this goes to the vault, the reservoir vault as well. That pays out 2% of its balance. And what this means is, not only is the size of the pool that you make up, does the size of the pool that you make up determine the rewards that you're earning in there, but also how long you're a liquidity provider. So those who are in it for the long haul earn better than anybody in the system. Now, the reason why we're able to allow for BNB deposits and BNB withdrawal for a liquidity provider contract, which is something that, again, no one has done before us and no one has been able to replicate, is that when you deposit your BNB, it takes half the BNB and buys drip, pairs that drip into our LP token, which we call drops, and those drops sit on the contract for you, and they represent your share of the reservoir. Now, when you go to cash out for the reservoir or take profit, it then takes those drops, unpairs it for you, and pays you out the BNB. And because it's taking both 2% of all the BNB that enters the reservoir contract and permanently locking it in the liquidity pool, and it's taking 2% of the 1% liquidity provider fee and permanently locking it in the liquidity pool, and because the reservoir vault is paying out 2% of its balance daily, meaning it can never pay out its full balance. That means that there's always going to be capital that is permanently locked in the drip liquidity pool, and the larger this locked amount of BNB that is in the liquidity pool, the higher the price floor is for drip. Meaning it's a price that that drip really can't go under. And every swap, every time someone swaps drip, this price floor goes up. And every time someone enters the reservoir, this price floor goes up. And with drip, if you look at the the shorter term fractals and stuff, it's going up, it's going down, it's doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But if you zoom out since launch, you'll see it's making higher highs, lows, higher highs, higher lows. And right now, it's rounding out one of those higher lows, and we're about to hit the next leg, which I believe will take us to highs like we've never seen before. And one of the main reasons for this is because the main sustainability function in the drip faucet is you can only earn 365% of your balance.
Yeah.
What this means is anybody who deposits and then just drains the system will be capped out at 365. Since you're making 1% a day, this means that after a year, people who are only draining the system get capped out. They're no longer able to drain the system. And drip just hit its 1 year anniversary a couple weeks ago. And when it did that, the largest staker in the faucet contract hit his max payout, and now he's no longer able to drain the system. And every day, more early whales who got in on day one or got in the pre-sale and have been just draining the system are hitting their max payout. And drip has stabilized. We see drip is stabilized and growing now, and this is largely due to that. And now in the next in the next month, we'll have Animal Farm fully launched, and then I can put my full focus into promoting drip and Animal Farm and coming out with the next development layer for drip. On top of this,
I think also the being able to farm with the drip liquidity tokens for pigs it's always amazing added utility to drip. Like I can't wait for that to reopen. It was the best. So for me, it was the best way to get pigs. Like dogs was great, but like to use drip as a utility to yield farm is amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So there's a few very big things that are coming for drip. Right. We have the V2 migration of Animal Farm, which gives a major utility for drip that allows us to earn yield. We have the UI, which is already built, and we're just, I just don't want to take energy away from either one by launching the new UI for drip and Animal Farm at the same time. So as soon as we put our focus back on drip, which will be immediately after the Animal Farm migration, the new UI is getting pushed. We'll already have the drip yield farm on Animal Farm, that farm going. We have a Major Dex Partnership coming for drip that is going to be providing a new utility for drip that incentivizes people to lock drip on their platform and earn yield. And again, this is something that they're only providing for what they consider the top 5 projects on BSC, where one of them, they're Major Dex, and they're going to be promoting the hell out of their new product, which means a ton of promotion for us. So that's going to be huge, and they're going to start they're gonna basically go public with it in the next few days and go live with it in the next few weeks. So that's right around the corner, right? That's the end of this month, early next month. And then we have the scratch ticket model,
Oh
which
yeah, the
is also
scratchies.
going to
Yeah.
be massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is I would say that is going to come at either the end of next month or early the following month. So essentially every week coming up for the next like 3 months, we have something major happening for both Animal Farm and Drip. The scratch ticket model is huge, right? It's a model that allows people to essentially buy scratch tickets on various platforms. So we're going to give the proof of concept by launching it on Animal Farm and Drip. 20% of all the B&B used to buy those tickets gets used to buy Drip, send it to the tax vault, buy dog and pigs, send them to the burn address. I think the pigs will likely get sent to the pig pen, which is huge, right? That's going to be, hundreds of thousands of dollars, not millions of dollars every day worth of pigs getting sent to the pig pen. And this isn't pigs that are being inflated or added to the supply to pay out. It's being bought. So this is pigs that are being bought from the market and then used as reward, a system that's locking them up. So, I mean, this is going to be huge for both Animal Farm and Drip. And it's a NFT scratch ticket model. So not only do you get a chance to win a prize, and the way that you interact with the NFT is also very cool, right? It's a dashboard that's a digital scratch ticket that you use your mouse to scratch to see
Awesome.
to see your reward. When you start scratching, it calls a function to Chainlink that returns a random value.
Brilliant.
We then use a type of a modal equation, which takes whatever this random number is and then puts it within a range, and then wherever this number lands within the range determines your prize and whether you won the prize or not. And then once the prize has been won, it's taken off the table. So we know when we start and when we have each batch, we know before the batch is sold how many prizes there will be. There'll be one jackpot. There'll be so many tier 2 prizes, so many tier 3 prizes, and this is why the scratching model is such a good model. Is because they're able to treat it like a business where they know exactly how much they'll pay in prizes each batch, exactly how much they can reinvest in the business, exactly how much they can take as profit as the owner. And I would say probably the greatest thing about this whole thing is if you do not win a prize with your ticket, with your NFT, you can then stake the NFT on the Scratchy platform, and 15% of all the BB used to buy the tickets on each batch get sent to the NFT staking protocol on Scratchy and is used to pay out a B&B dividend to the through the revenue sharing model to the stakers of the NFT. So this is again how taking that would otherwise be going to the developers.
Exactly,
we're giving them to the community.
Yeah. So what? So I buy the scratch ticket. I scratch it off with scratch off the NFT with my mouse. Then if I win or if I lose, I can still take that NFT. I can stake it into this scratchy website you said, and then I'll be able to earn.
You stake it. Yep. And then depending on where the ticket is bought, what platform it's bought on, either on the Drip platform or on the Animal Farm platform. 20% of the B&B will go to whatever token is associated with that platform, and the theming is completely different. And this is something we'll just be having for our tokens. We're going to use this as a white label service and offer it to a bunch of other platforms, and it'll be themed for their specific platform. And this is a ton of B&B that will be generated because there's a ton of projects that are already contacting us wanting to implement this, and all this B&B is going to be used to buy back our tokens and be used to pay out through the revenue sharing in B&B. So it's another just another thing that's very big about that is although we will be offering it on multiple platforms, each platform has a different size lottery or a different size jackpot. And the reason for this is because 10% of all B&B that is used to buy the tickets goes into a treasury, and 25% of that treasury goes to the jackpot with each batch. And that means every batch that's sold increases the treasury balance, which increases the jackpot for that specific platform.
Yeah.
So I already know that, without a doubt, Drip will have the largest jackpot. So even though we'll be offering the service to other platforms, Drip undoubtedly will have the largest jackpot, will be the most attractive. And regardless of where people are buying the tickets, the revenue sharing is still being done on the Scratchy site. So that's it's going to be huge. We already know the Scratch Ticket model works awesome, but we're able to take it to the next level by implementing the power of DeFi. Essentially, the community can lend capital to other drippers, and for lending out this capital, they will earn a yield, and this is a secured loan, and it's secured by the collateral in the drip stake of the person who's accepting the loan, and the loan is secured because they know that the loan size can't be larger than what can be paid back from the ROI that person that has the collateral staked in the protocol is earning, and the person who is getting the loan can then use this capital that would otherwise have to withdraw from the faucet to be able to access. Now they can keep their money in Drip. They can get into whatever they want to do, the trade, the pre-sale, whatever it is, make their flip, make some money, bring it right back into their Drip stake. And say something happens, they go get into a pre-sale and get rugged, or shit happens in DeFi, right?
Yeah.
Their loan will be self-paying from the ROI that they're earning in Drip. So even if they mess up somehow, their loan will still pay itself off, and then once their loan is paid off, then their collateral becomes open to them, and now they have access to their stake, and they're earning ROI on their stake again. When before they've paid off their loan, their ROI is going to the lender, and with interest, and the faster the loan is paid off, the less interest is associated with that loan. So, I mean, it's going to revolutionize DeFi. It's going to be the biggest thing in DeFi. I know it. I have already worked out the logic on how to do it. The reason why I say end of year is because I have to build the contracts for it. So I've worked the logic. I still have to build the contracts. It's going to be built on top of the faucet, and it's just going to be massive. And I want to take my time with it. So end of year is my target for that. But we got so much coming in the next 4 or 5 months, anyways, that people can focus on. And Drip is just in a better place than ever. The team's in a better place than ever. So, I'm super, super excited. But right now, it's all about pigs. It's all about Animal Farm. So, tomorrow at noon, I'll be in voice chat. Prepare everybody at 1 p.m. PST when the timer hits 0. I'm going to be unpausing. Everything will go live. Remember, there's less than 3% of the circulation. Those pigs that are in circulation are heavily incentivized to put their capital in Piggy Bank or PigPen. They're going to get a 20% bonus if they get in Piggy Bank. They get in PigPen. They're getting a jump start on building up their share of the Animal Farm before it goes live. Plus, they're getting all those pigs that are generated from the Piggy Bank fees, and they're getting the they're getting the BUSD, the millions of dollars worth of BUSD, which is already sitting in the vault. Now, when Animal Farm goes live, or the V2 goes live in 2 weeks, because we're gonna have 1 week for the migration process, and then we'll go live the next week. There's going to be a huge wave of TVL that comes in, which is going to be hundreds, maybe billions of dollars, which is going to 4 to 6% of that be used for PigPen injections, right? So that's tens of millions of dollars. And not only will we be creating this this capital from deposit use, also the collateral rehypothecation, which will not just be for LPs, it will also be for single assets, which is going to actually double the amount of yield that we're earning through that, which doubles the amount of capital BUSD we can pay out through the PigPen. So, I mean, the PigPen is obvious, right? I think the reason why I'm putting a little more focus on the PigPen because the PigPen is a little bit more of the longer term play, which people I think need to have a little bit more of an understanding of how the system works to see how that benefits them. But there's so much more cash flow going to it when we go live than there was in V1, and the logic is so much better. And then Piggy Bank is we made major improvements to it. It's a whole new beast, right? And Piggy Bank is already the obvious, awesome, like mid to long term play. So I just see the pig token exploding when we go live tomorrow, and everybody just celebrating, being very very happy and excited, and the piggy bank. How much do you need to deposit? How much do you need to compound to buy a whole piglet? You don't need to worry about that anymore. Even the smallest user can benefit from the piggy bank now, and this is because we've made another major innovation that is not that you can't find in any other contract that has two assets, and that's the ability to buy fractional tokens. So
Good. So the
when
smallest deposit can get in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have two assets on the same contract, it becomes much harder to do because if you try to if you use a constant padding, what happens is when you go to unpad on the other side, you're still going to have a value under one in some cases, and when you will round that to zero and not be credited. And this is why all these other protocols that have multiple assets, an ROI asset and an asset negated, have a threshold that you need to be larger than to be able to do any compounding or deposit. And we have removed that threshold and made it so it's the bonus and all of the use cases of the system are accessible to everybody, no matter what your size is. And essentially, all that matters is the actions you take in it.
Man, so much.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
know. It's a lot. That's one of the reasons why we're kind of parsing it out, right? We're doing pigs, piggy bank, and PigPen tomorrow. We'll do dogs migration next week. We'll do dogs launch the following week.
It's great
Yeah,
because
but
we're all on this journey, man. It's the biggest army in DeFi, that we have now. The biggest decentralized army.
Best community.
Best community by far, man.
We're on the cutting edge. Like we are on the bleeding edge of DeFi, and I feel like we are where you go if you want to safely and securely be on the cutting edge of DeFi.
Yeah.
Right. This is where you go. You can't. There's no one else doing it like we are. If you want to be on the cutting edge, but also feel secure that your capital will be protected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really, well, from what you were saying before there, I really like the idea of being able to take my drip out of the faucet, like claim my drip, right? And then be able to put it in somewhere else and stake it and then get something else rewarded. Because personally, I don't really like selling drip. I feel bad. I like to use drip,
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of it.
Yeah, of course.
So to use it as another utility and another site to put it into is so amazing. It's fantastic.
Just so you know, the lending protocol, I can't give away too much, but it's actually, let me not even get into it. But people will, with the lending protocol, people will not be removing drip from the system at all, right? There will be no drip being removed from the system.
Yeah.
People will have, so anyways, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to give away
don't give away any
my
of it.
ideas before it's
all I'm imagining is a stunner breezy loan service using drip lending.
Dude, that's going to happen, right? The whales in the system are going to essentially be banks.
Yeah.
They're going to have their own banks where they're going to be able to make loans to people and are interested, and that's going to benefit everybody.
Yeah, it will be.
So yeah, it's awesome.
It's going to start this net of just a web of continuing growing and growing up, man. It's fantastic.
For tax reasons too.
Yeah.
It's huge because you don't pay taxes on a load. You only pay taxes, well, at least in the US, you only pay taxes on realized capital gains. So this is why the super rich, the super wealthy, they never realize their capital gains. They use those assets as collateral to take out loans against it. Then they spend the loan. And that they use the debt, and they use that lending money, and they keep those assets, earning yield for them and as collateral, and they never end up paying taxes on anything. And I never give anybody tax advice, but having a lending system allows for that. Like, given the current structure, it allows you to take out a loan as your collateral, cash it out essentially, and since it's a loan, you don't owe taxes on it. You can have your drip still earning yield in there. But these are things that people are going to, as we get closer, will work out for themselves. And I'm going to stay far away from giving anybody tax advice or anything, but it opens up so much opportunity.
Yeah, man. So much. And
it's going to be huge for whales. Whales are going to love it. Whales are great.
So the timer's already up for the movement, for the relaunching of the pigs, yeah?
Yeah, we're 11 hours away.
Man, fantastic. This is exciting. So I don't want to keep you too long then, because I'm sure you need your beauty sleep and...
Yeah, so I stayed up. I was up all day yesterday. I stayed up all night working on the UI. I slept for something like 2 hours before the Juba interview. I did that. I came out. I spent some time, answering questions of the community. I took another 3-hour nap while I did this, and I got I got more work to do. But now it's crunch time, right? The time to sleep is in a few days, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Well, Forex, I hope that once the pigs is done, I'm going to figure out how to live stream, and I'm going to get you on my channel. I promise.
Oh, we'll do it, man. Yeah. I mean, it can't be too hard, but I don't live stream, so I had no advice for you, but you'll figure it out, man. And we'll get going, in the next few days. So, you said that you're going to transcribe this and do subtitles. You can do that?
I can do it. I've recorded everything as well, so I'll be able to put this up afterwards, and also I'm going to turn it into Chinese so that the Chinese community can they can find out the key information, because especially in a second language, I'm sure like Drip Italy knows this, or Drip Japan, that in a second language it's very hard to get everything, to understand everything. So the more sources we do have in different languages that can clearly explain to everyone what's going on, it's the best way for everyone, It's important.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off, but if you have questions, go to the latest Twitter tweet that I made. Put your questions there. When I come on tomorrow at noon, I'm gonna go through it and I'll look at any questions and I'll answer any questions. I've been on for like 2.5, 3 hours or something now, and I can't stay on all night because I gotta prepare for tomorrow and everything. But put your questions there and I'll get to them, or ask in the chat, because I'm sure not to assume, but almost every question I see we've already addressed, and someone else will be able to answer it for you if you just put it in the chat. So feel free, post it in the chat. Someone will get you an admin, someone will get you. So all right, guys, thank you, Crypto Mischief. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for everything you've done for Drip and all of us. You've been with us for years now. We appreciate it, man.
We'll keep going. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Man. Everybody does their best. So all right, man. Good night.
Good night.
That's right. Tell me how